Welcome to Copilots in Business Central. Let's have a look at what we'll be covering today. We're going to start off with some introductions, after which we will talk about how to activate your Copilots in Business Central, all of the settings that relates to Copilots and what you have to activate and what those settings mean. We're going to have a look at Copilots everywhere, what Copilots are available in Business Central and what do they do. After that, we'll talk about developing Copilots in Business Central, and then there's space for some Q&A at the end. So if anybody has any questions, you're more than welcome to ask them there. Kicking off with the introduction, for those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Bernie. I'm the PTS at Companion that looks after the product Business Central, and I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer, and I've pretty much been training partners for about 28, 29 years now around Navision/Business Central, and looking after partners from a learning perspective. Excuse me. First thing we're going to have a look at is how to activate your Copilots in Business Central. So let's have a look at all the settings and basically what happens within BC. So Copilots have to be activated. All the details that you need is going to be over here on this Microsoft.Learn article, Configure Copilot and Agent Capabilities. You'll find everything in here that I'm going to talk about now, but basically within Business Central, you will go over here if you click on Find and you look at Copilot and Agent Capabilities. In here, you will see that here are all my Copilot capabilities, and you'll see that they're active over there. You can see that you can deactivate them and activate them. There are two groups over here, Product Ready Preview. So the Copilots that are over here are in preview, and the Copilots down at the bottom over here are in general availability. So you'll see only two of the Copilots have actually fully been released. The rest of the Copilots are still in a preview. Some of the settings that you have to actually activate is, for instance, to allow movement across geographies. So in order to understand that, you have to have a look at the country and regional availability and supported languages. So basically, when you have Business Central in a specific country, that Business Central will be deployed in a specific Azure geography. So in other words, if you have a Business Central in Angola, it's going to be hosted in the South African data center. Business Central's data centers are not available everywhere. If we go over here to the release plans and we have a look at what products are available in what regions, this will look at product availability by geography. And if we go and go through this, let's activate Business Central over there. Let's just deactivate all of the other stuff over here. You'll see these are all of the data centers where Business Central is actually available. Now, if we have a look in our example, what we'll have a look at, for instance, over here is we'll have a look at the Netherlands and the UK. So in the UK, there's a data center in the UK for Business Central, but Netherlands over there actually doesn't have a data center right over there. I actually thought the Netherlands had a data center right there. But in any case, let's actually just see over here. Oh, they're actually in the European data center. I thought that data center is in the Netherlands. Nonetheless, if we actually have a look at Business Central for the UK, you will see that if you want to activate the Copilot capabilities in there, you will notice that there is no setting up here to allow data movement across geographies. If we go back to the Netherlands one over here, however, there is a setting that says allow data movement. So what basically happens is if your data center is in your country, but the AI resources that you need to use is not in your country. And in order to understand that, you have to understand how the AI actually works within Business Central. So within Business Central, we have a special type of page called a prompt dialog page that it pops up and asks you for details. and that's written in AL code. And the entire UI and everything for Business Central for your Copilot is written in AL code. That sends the information to the system application, and all the integration to the AI is written through the system application, and that connects to an Azure OpenAI resource. So in Azure, you create an Azure OpenAI resource of type, uh, uh, not Copilot, what's it called? An AI resource, artificial intelligence resource, and that's where it actually sends the prompt to and where it actually gets the response from. Now, if this Azure OpenAI resource is not sitting in the same data center as Business Central, it means that that data actually has to travel outside of your region more than likely. So in other words, if I have the data over here, the prompt gets sent and it sends it out of the country, well, then we have to give the Copilot permission to allow the data to move outside of my region. So if your data is sitting inside your region and with the you don't allow, you've got some data residency requirements, you don't allow data to travel outside of your region, you can switch it off over there, and you'll see in this instance it actually switches off all of the Copilot capabilities over there because I don't allow data movement outside of my region. And this is only in the NL region. If we have a look at this Copilot setup over here for the UK has a data center inside the UK as well as the Copilot Azure OpenAI capabilities in the same data center. So no setting is needed over here in the UK to allow data to travel outside of my actual region. So that's one of the first settings that you'd have to do. You have to activate the Copilot. You have to ensure that you allow data to travel outside of your region, if that's a setting that you need to set in your region. You also need to grant the users access. So in this page over here, I think it's on this one over here, in this page over here, you will see there is a setting over here that talks about granting the users access. There's a lot of permissions set up for the different Copilots. This will tell you all about the permission sets that are available and what permission sets you have to assign to what users to give them the Copilot capabilities. So obviously, if there's a capability that the system says you're not allowed to use, you might not have the right permission. So come to this page, have a look over here, and it'll tell you what permissions you need to grant which users in order to give them access. There's also a setting to enable Bing search in Copilot and agents. If we have a look over here, this one over here is not of the right version. So let's go to this one over here. And I might have to open a different one over here. Let's just go back here and find a version 27 preview version. So this is a version, British version 27 preview. And if we actually open this one, we'll actually see the setting in here. Because in this specific version, what's going to happen is the Copilot will use Bing search to actually search the internet and return information from the web to us in Business Central. So for instance, if you're creating a customer and I want that customer to go and look up the address information for that customer, you can actually do that, but you have to activate that functionality. So over here, you'll see there's a setting that says enable Bing search, and I have to give the Copilot's permission to go and search the internet for information to return it back into Business Central. So those are all the settings that you might need to activate within your Copilots in Business Central. Now, let's have a look at Copilots everywhere. So this is actually, it's been a joke for a while. I mean, Microsoft released so many Copilots, and even in Business Central, if you have a look at how many Copilots are in there, I saw this one on the internet and I just couldn't resist to put that into my presentation over here because there literally is just Copilots everywhere. Even some tech news channels joke fairly often when they report on Copilots in Business Central about having yet another Copilot in Business Central. If you want to learn about the Copilots, this session is not long enough. I cannot demo all the Copilots in its entirety, but there is a lot of information available on YouTube. So I've included 3 playlists. There's a quick bite-sized Copilot demo playlist on Business Central's YouTube channel. They've got like 2-minute videos. It's just a quick demo of what does the Copilots in Business Central actually do. You'll see there's like 4 videos. There's also a video playlist on extending Copilots in Business Central. You'll see there's quite a couple of videos. Some of them are like 40 minutes. Actually, most of them are 40 or 50 minutes in there. And then the last one over there, Copilot and AI. This is a playlist that includes a whole bunch of videos from like 2-3 minute videos all the way through to 1 hour video, basically presenting the Copilot features and showing the evolution of the Copilots in Business Central, and showing you with all the different releases what's new with 2023 release wave 2. So this goes back quite a while. But these videos will show you all of the details that you need to know and need to see about Business Central. If you want to get to these videos, if you couldn't write down these links over here, basically all you need to do is aka.ms/BC YouTube. And if you go to that link over there, aka.ms/BC YouTube, that'll take you to the Business Central YouTube channel. And then if you go to playlists over there, you'll find all the playlists over there. Just search for Copilot and you'll see there's the quick bite-sized and extending the Copilot. And so all the different playlists are in here with all of the different videos that I have spoken about. Let's have a look at some of the Copilots. Adding marketing text to items. For every one of them, I've included a link over here that you can actually follow, that will take you to a page that tells you all about that specific Copilot features. What it is, what it does, how to set it up, how to work with it, etc. But like I said, you've got the YouTube videos over there. Go and watch those as well. They will tell you all about it. But let's actually go and review each one of the Copilot videos. So let's actually go to this one over here, and in here, if I go into my inventory items over here, what this Copilot will do is if I open a specific inventory item, you'll see on the right-hand side over there, there's a little fact box that talks about marketing texts. And if I say draft with Copilot, I can actually create marketing texts for this item with Copilot. Now, what this will do is this has got the item name over there. It's got the unit of measure. It's got all of the item attributes. It's got a lot of details, and it will draft up some marketing text that you can actually use. And if you remember, everywhere you go, you will get warnings that AI-generated content could be incorrect, like it says up at the top over there. And it tells you that you have to review the information. You can read through that, and if you actually agree with all of this, you might want to modify it or whatever. You can decide to keep it over there, and that puts the marketing text in over here. And then, of course, if you are, for instance, a company that sells a lot of stuff online, and online you need a description of every item, you can use those marketing texts that have been generated for every item that you've got to actually just display that information on the web page for the actual item. So that's the marketing texts. The next one that we've got is analyze data in lists with Copilot. So basically, what you can do with this one is any list page that you go to in Business Central has the ability to switch to an analysis mode. So any page, you've got 2 types of pages in Business Central. You've got a list page over here like this one, and then you've got a card page. A card page will only ever show one item, but usually a lot of information about that one item. And a list page will show a list of information, but usually not that much information about everyone. You'll see there's about 10 or 15 fields maybe on the screen over there max, and each one of those rows will then represent one item out of the actual table. So any list page like this, if you go into an analysis mode, you can now from here decide that I want to go into a pivot table mode, and then I can drag and drop some information around over here just like I would with a pivot table in Excel. So that's basically the analysis mode over here is the equivalent of taking a table of data, dumping it in Excel, and then pivoting around that information. But you don't need to do that. What you could do is you could go straight here to your Copilot and you could say, I want to analyze my list. And then over here, what you can do is you can now go and say, give it some sort of a prompt. I want to see items by type. And total inventory by type, or whatever it is. I don't know. I didn't specifically prepare any sort of idea. It might have been a good idea to just prepare a specific something over here, but you'll see over there, there's my different items and my inventory. Oh, there we go. So this is my items by inventory, non-inventory, and service. Those are the different types. So I didn't really choose a very good example because non-inventory and service items actually don't keep track of quantities. You can see the non-inventory actually has a quantity, but service items over there will never have a quantity in there. But in the same way, you can use any type of prompt like that for any list of information. Excuse me, and have the system generate the stuff for you. You can then, same thing with all the Copilots, AI generated content might be incorrect, and then decide to keep it or discard it, or add more details about the analysis and regenerate it. That's usually a thing you can actually do. Add more details over there and then decide to regenerate the prompt. Or if you're actually happy with the prompt, you can decide to actually just keep it. And that's what this Copilot actually does for you. Autofill fields in Copilot. So this feature is still in preview, but this is one of the features that actually has the capability of searching the internet for data. So for this one, let's actually go back over here where we have the preview of version 27. And if I go over here and I say, for instance, go to customers, and I create a new customer over there. And you'll see for this one, I actually prepared a customer over here. So I've created a new customer, it gave it a number, filled in the customer name, and now I want to get information like address, phone number, email address, homepage, etc. If I go to phone number over there, you'll see the little sparkle icon, which is an icon that's basically associated with Copilots. Everywhere you see that, you can just click on it. And if I click on the phone number, see there it says working on it. And because I've given it the ability to actually use Bing search, it says there searching the web. So it's now searching the web for Companion. And because this is a UK-based company and the company address is in the UK, of course, it's going to search in the UK. It's probably going to find our UK address. So you'll see over there, it's found our UK address, telephone number, email address, and homepage. And what you can do now is if you go to the little eye icon on the left over there, you can actually review the information, decide whether you want to keep it or change it. It tells you where it found that information. You can actually click on that and visit the page as well where it's found that information. And that's basically what the autofill does. If I go to the credit limit, for instance, over there, I can also say, fill that information automatically. And it's come back with no information. It just didn't have enough information to actually fill that information. But it's gone and filled in the salesperson code. And for the salesperson, it's actually come back and told me, listen here, most likely that Benjamin is the salesperson handling the customer, as the record shows no current salesperson, and this field, this is the first selection in the list. So this one has literally just gone and taken the first selection in the list. If you generally give new customers a, say for instance, $10,000 credit limit or $5,000 or whatever it might be, and you always do that with new customers, it might actually come back with that suggestion over there and then tell you over there, this is the most often used value for this specific field. So it sort of learns off of your behavior, etc., and then decides to use that information to go and fill in specific fields. Okay, so then we have the chat with Copilot. So in the chat with Copilot, what it does is there is actually a Copilot icon at the top over here that actually opens the chat. And if you open the chat with Copilot, you'll see it opens on the side over there. And then with version 27, you can actually resize this. We're not on version 27 in this instance yet, so we can't actually resize this window at this stage. But the Copilot chat basically does three main things: find, explain and guide, and ask. So find, so if you want to look up information within Business Central, you'll see it actually even gives you some suggested prompts at the bottom over there. But I can say, look up the last invoice for customer 10,000. It'll actually go and find that specific information. You can also ask it to explain and guide, how do I calculate interest for customers? How do I post certain values? How do I adjust my stock? Any type of question that you ask like that, it'll actually come back with the information. And you'll see over there, it has come back and said it can't find that information. So go to the posted sales invoice. That's probably why, because there are no posted sales invoices. This specific one that I've chosen for this doesn't actually have any posted sales invoices in the demo data. So that's why it wasn't able to find anything in there. But you can also ask questions to it. So you can ask questions like, what was the last time the customer bought a table? And they'll go and tell you, when was the last time that customer had actually bought a table from you. So there's all sorts of features and functionalities through the chat, but the idea over here is that you actually use natural language. You actually talk to the Copilot over here and it comes back with information. But once again, it's on a prompt and response basis. So in other words, you ask a question, it comes back with a response and tells you what's actually happening in that specific instance. So that's the chat with Copilot. Map e-documents to purchase order lines with Copilot. And over here, I've included a link to the YouTube video. It's one of those short videos over there that it actually shows. And if you click on that, it'll actually take you to a video that will actually show you how the matching of the lines actually works. So when you have your purchase orders over there, you could say map e-document lines, and what that'll do is it will go and find e-document lines to actually match. So the customer, you've placed an order with them and the supplier has sent you an electronic invoice, and it'll even show you all the lines were matched. It'll show you the lines in green and the lines in yellow, what was the matched quantity. So you'll actually see over there, how likely it is it thinks that it's actually correct or not. It'll even find lines that are split. So if you've got two different inventory items on the one side and one on the other, and then you can decide to apply it. It fills in the vendor invoice number, date, and all sorts of things like that. Fills in all the information, does the matching for you, so you don't actually have to go and do all of that information. But the video is over there. You can go and watch it. The commentary, of course, over there that they give is a little bit better than mine. But there's an article available as well over there at the top that will tell you all about the matching the e-documents. This one is actually an agent. Sorry, I don't know. I slipped up and got that one in. This is all about Copilots. We'll talk about agents in a different session. Reconcile bank accounts with Copilot. This is actually one of the few ones that's actually been released. But basically, when you have a bank recon within Business Central, if I create a bank recon, so if I go to bank account reconciliations over there, and I open up a bank recon over there, usually what happens is on the left-hand side over here, I will import my statement directly from the bank. And on the right-hand side will be all the transactions that I have in the system. And the idea with the bank account reconciliation is matching the stuff on the left with the stuff on the right, so you can find what went through on the one side that didn't go through on the other side. So for instance, I might have already done a payment that's not reflecting in my bank yet, because sometimes when you pay with a debit card or a credit card, for instance, it takes a day or two for the charge to reflect on your bank statement. Sometimes you have transactions going through your bank, maybe debit orders, or could even be, if you actually process the debit orders in your system, it could be things like interest or bank charges or something like that that you haven't picked up in your system yet. So once you've determined the inconsistencies between the two, you can then the stuff that's on your bank statement that's not in your system, you can put through on your system. The stuff that's on your system that's not through on your bank yet, you just leave as unreconciled at this point in time. And then once you've done that reconciliation, you're done. But you could actually use the Copilot to actually do your reconciliation for you. So if you click on reconcile over there, the Copilot will go through and find all the matching entries, and you can decide whether you want to keep or discard those matches, etc. But it'll tell you what possible matches there are, and it'll tell you whether the lines are 100% matched or not. Suggest lines on sales documents with Copilot. So what this feature will do is when I have a sales document in Business Central, so if I go through to, say, for instance, a sales order, and I decide I want to create a new sales order for a specific customer because he sent me an email, and in that email there is a Excel file attached, or there is a bulleted list of items that he would like to order. What I can do is, once I want to create the lines over here, I just click on the Copilot and I say suggest sales lines, and then I go to the email, I copy the bulleted list, and the bulleted list just basically says Athens desk times 10, some chairs times, let's say, 5 chairs per desk, 50. And then once I've copied the bulleted list in there, I can say generate, and the system will actually go and generate lines that I can actually create for my line. So it's picked up the Athens desk over there, it's gone and found the sole guest chair over there. And for the matching, I can say that's precise, I want precise matching, etc. And you can also then, if you don't like a specific item, you can decide to change the items to different items, etc. And once you're happy with it, you can say either insert or discard the matches. And let's say, for instance, the guy sent you a Excel spreadsheet, you can say suggest sales lines from file. So click on that, drag and drop the file in here, the Excel spreadsheet or whatever it might be. I think this only supports either Excel or PDF. Let's just go over here and let's go and see. The life of me, I just can't remember. Supported languages, prerequisites, prompts. Just sales orders lines. Okay, I can't find it right now, but go and play with it. I actually haven't, like you can see, I probably haven't played with this one enough. I usually do the bulleted list in all of my demos. I actually don't usually use a file, but I know it supports one or the other. Then moving on to suggest substitute items with Copilot. So item substitutions is a feature that we have within Business Central. So if I have a specific item, I can set up substitutes for that item in the system. So if we have a look at, for instance, let's just get out of the analysis view over here. I have the Athens desk over there. And let's say I have the Antwerp conference table. So if out of Athens desk, I want to suggest that one as a possible substitute. So what you can do is, if you go here to item, and I can't find it right there, so let's just search for it, substitutions. So for the Athens desk, I want to tell the system that I want to substitute that with an item, and the item I want to substitute that with is the Antwerp conference table. Yeah. And then I want to say that they are interchangeable. So in other words, if I'm out of Antwerp conference tables, I can suggest an Athens desk as a substitute. See, there's a suggest with Copilot over there. So let's go to one of the chairs over there, for instance, like the Paris guest chair. And let's have a look at the substitutes for the Paris guest chair. So if I go to substitutes over there, I can say, suggest for me substitutions with Copilot. And it'll go through the system. It'll look at the item attributes. It'll look at all of the item features, etc. And it'll come back and it'll tell you, listen here are the ones that you want, so you can actually choose them or just say I just want to insert all of them as substitutes, and a couple of them you can then mark as interchangeable, just making your life a little bit easier in terms of setting up substitutes within your system. Suggest a number series with Copilot. So setting up the number series is in Business Central. If we go to number series is over here, you will see if I want to create a new number series, I have to create it, and then I have to fill in all the details, starting number, ending number. I have to fill in all the details over there. But I could use a Copilot just to generate this for me. So if I go to generate, I can go over here and I can say, create me a list of invoice numbers starting with INVO, because I think there is one with INV. And numbers from 0001 to 9999. And if I say generate, it'll then go and generate that number series for me. So you have to be fairly specific in terms of what you actually want it to do. Let's actually come back. And it's telling me that the number series have already been configured over there, because the prompt that I gave it was to generate invoice numbers. So it saw the name invoice, and now it wants to create all of the purchase and sales invoices within the system, which I've already done. But you get the general idea. You can just use this as an easy and quick way to actually just go and generate invoice numbers for you. If you don't like a specific one, you can just delete a line out of there and then say keep it to keep the rest, and it'll generate the number series for you. Summarize records with Copilot. This is a feature that's been around for 1 or 2 versions. So if we actually go to, say, for instance, a customer or a vendor, once I open that customer or vendor, what happens is it generates a summary at the top right hand side over there for me, and you'll see that I've still got one of the older versions over there. So in here I've actually got to say start summarizing. In some of the later versions of Business Central, it actually does the summary for you automatically. Let's actually go into the preview of, let's discard all the changes over there. I think Cronus. Okay, let's just see what version I've got over here. This is preview 2, preview 2.7, preview 2.7. Yes, this is a preview version 27. So if I open 8atom Corporation over there, you'll see that, oh, this one as well. I have to say start summarizing. I wonder what the difference is, because in the demo version, I was actually just using this afternoon. Every time you click onto it, the summary would just generate automatically. You didn't have to say start summarizing. But in any case, the summary actually just gives you some more information. Now, the summary, the Copilot actually goes and has a look at what role center you've been assigned. So within Business Central, if I go to my settings over there, once I'm assigned a specific role center, it tells the system a little bit about who I am. So if I'm using the business manager role center, or if I'm using the sales agent role center, or if I'm using a debtors clerk role center, those are different roles within the organization. So it'll use that role center to give details about what this summary is actually going to return to us. So it gives us an AI summary over here, just summarizes some information, highlights some interesting information about the customer, etc. And we can learn just a little bit about the customer in that actual summary over there. Just in wrapping up, developing Copilots in Business Central, basically, the Copilots in Business Central are not extensible. So these Copilots that I've just shown you, the Copilots that I've just demoed to you, are basically, they work the way they do. So you cannot write your own code to extend and change what those Copilots are busy doing. Microsoft is working on it, and probably with version 28, which will be Business Central 2026 Release Wave 1, which will come out in April 2026. We'll probably see some of them. We know that they are working on the summary feature. We know that they are working on there's one other feature, and I can't think of which one it actually is at this stage. But there are two of the features that we know that they are working on. They wanted to release it with 2025 Release Wave 2, but they pushed it back to version 26 Release Wave 1. We will see the extensibility where we can in AL code actually extend the functionality that Microsoft has developed, but you can develop your own copilots within Business Central. If you want to see what it is that you can do, go to this page within the learn.microsoft.com. It talks about developing generative AI experiences. This is where you can write your own AL code to extend the AI functionality that they've written in the system application. You just basically, there's very little that you actually have to do, but all the details is in this section over here. This will give you an introduction into it, but you can read all about how to build the Copilot user experience and how to test the Copilot capability through automated testing. But all of the functionality is over there, and you can read all about what you need to do. There is actually a playlist on Microsoft's YouTube page, so aka.ms/BC YouTube. There's a playlist over there that will showcase partner solutions that they have already developed. So Copilots that have been developed by customers, there is a couple of them on there where you can go and see what the partners have already done. And if you want to extend the Copilots within Business Central, there is an entire playlist that actually is dedicated to extending Copilots within Business Central. There's even a workshop over there that was held at Directions North America last year, where you can actually go and follow the workshop and work through extending the Copilots in Business Central. So that's a little bit about the Copilots in Business Central, what they are, what they can do. If you do have any questions, feel free to get a hold of me. My LinkedIn profile is on that QR code on the page, and I've also included the URL over there. Reach out to me. Otherwise, thanks for joining us today, and I hope to see you guys in a session again soon. Thanks for joining.